Hi, everyone. Ian Andrews, LakewoodAlive. We're going to get started. Thanks so much for being here tonight. We really appreciate you taking time out, especially on what has turned out to be a really pleasant evening. So thanks for joining us. We have been really excited to bring the Knowing Your Home series to you, albeit virtually during the COVID-19 pandemic, and this is just another continuation. So I'm going to turn it over to Allison Urbanik. Allison is our Housing and Internal Operations Director. And she does just such a great job putting together the Knowing Your Home series every year with some really great experts here in our region. So Allison, go ahead and take it away. Allison, are you there with us? Can you hear us? Okay, we may have an audio issue with Allison right now. So just so folks remember, Knowing Your Home series, this really is an educational series on how to maintain your old Lakewood home, but also thinking about some really innovative technology and some innovative ways to reimagine your home. And so tonight, thinking about universal design, this is something that we've been talking about at LakewoodAlive for a while. As we start to think about how homes can be accessible to folks, particularly as they age in place. So this isn't just about aging in place. This is about making sure that it's accessible to everybody as life changes and as they need to be able to navigate around their home. So we're going to jump right in with our friends from Maximum Accessible Housing of Ohio, also known as MAHO. We really appreciate them being here with us tonight. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, please go right ahead and we'll jump right in, and then I'll help run the slides here in the background.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Mara. I am Mara Lane, and I'm here with my colleague and the Vice President of Maximum Accessible Housing of Ohio, Beth Glass. And today we're here to talk to you about universal design. We come from Maximum Accessible Housing of Ohio. Our mission is to advance accessibility, independence, and inclusion in homes and communities. We've spent over 35 years developing and operating the fully accessible Vistas apartments. And our Anderson Center for Accessible Living takes all that we've learned and we share it so that all people, including seniors, people with disabilities, industry professionals, everybody can learn to live as independently as possible. And we're really excited to be here with you today. So thank you for having us. So a little bit about universal design. You can go ahead and click that slide. Universal design is the design of products and environments to be used by all people to the greatest extent possible without the need for adaptation or specialized design. That means products and places can be used safely and easily by everyone. And it also can be applied to anything that people create. So that can be anything from buildings to kitchen appliances to community spaces. Go ahead and click that slide. So I just want to show you a couple of examples for universal design. Some things that you might even see all over the community or even have in your house. The first example on the left there is called a curb cut. If you never had a name for it, now you do. The little red bumps on top are called truncated domes, and those serve a number of purposes, and they can be used by anybody, and they are there to help everybody. So that's called a curb cut, and you'll see that around your neighborhood. And the thing on the right is actually a product you might have in your own home. It is a potato peeler. That potato peeler was actually designed by a man whose wife has arthritis in her hands, and he noticed that one day she was struggling with a traditional potato peeler, so he made it his mission to create a line of products that his wife could use as she deals with her arthritis, and that he can use as well. And that line, funnily enough, is actually really common. You might see it in Target. I think that many of you might have it in your own homes now. It's called OXO, if anybody's wondering. Go ahead, next slide. So universal design benefits. The design of the products and environments that can be used by all people to the greatest extent. Remember, that's what we're focusing on. So I just want to focus on a few of these benefits. Number one is usability and simplicity. We tend to work really, really hard in our homes, much harder than we have to. And many universal design features require a lot less effort, less stress, and less attention to use. That makes everyday tasks simpler. So that's everything from laundry to cooking to entertaining in your own home. Flexibility. Flexibility means that universal design products make it easier to adapt the home as your lifestyle or your family composition changes. That's as we age, as we add a little one to the home, as we add pets, as we move from home to home. It allows us that flexibility to change. Safety. Universal design reduces the likelihood of common causes of home accidents. So we'll see a lot of examples of features in the home later in the slideshow, but I want just to point out some of the safety features that you'll be likely to see, like open floor spaces that can help prevent slips and falls, and other sorts of safety features that you'll see are common throughout universal design. There's also the tenet of cost savings. Homes that are designed with universal design principles are less expensive to adapt for aging in place or disabilities. And that's both for temporary or permanent, whether you break your leg or you're adapting to a new change within your own body. And last, but certainly not least, is style and individuality. Universal design can be both beautiful and also comfortable. Those healthful and helpful aspects of your life don't have to be unsightly or ugly. They are beautifully designed and often more palatable than quote unquote accessibility. So we're going to look at our next slide, which has the magic numbers. So the magic numbers you'll see on your screen are 32, 36, 5, 5, 18, 48, 28, 34, 1, and 12. And I'll get into the explanation of all of those numbers. You don't need to remember them or write them down. We can always revisit these magic numbers. So these are the standard minimum dimensions that meet or exceed most federal and state accessibility codes. In most cases, exceeding these minimums will make your home safer, easier to maintain, and more accessible. You'll notice that these magic numbers match up with the 7 principles of universal design, particularly allowing for the ease of use, space, and low physical burden. So next slide, we'll see a 32-inch minimum with door clearance. That'll be on our next slide. Perfect. So 32 inches is the minimum our width our doorways should be, and 36 inches is better. Why do we want 32 inches at least? That's because it increases usability for people using wheelchairs, maybe your grandchild's stroller. How about moving day? We're moving like a dolly full of boxes, or even just have I know for me, I always carry my laundry basket on my hip. I always need that extra room before I bang my elbow on the door frame. And what I want you to notice right here is what is called a swing clear hinge. That's a swing clear hinge. It's a product that you can buy from your local Home Depot, Lowe's, and it is a product that allows your door to swing all the way clear of the door frame. So it's giving you an extra inch, however thick that door is, it's giving you that extra width in your doorway to just widen it a little bit more. And 36 inches is even better, of course, because it increases usability for all. It reduces, again, the chance of running into the door, and we'll see that again. We'll see that measurement pop up again on our next slide as well. So here we see that 36-inch way is going to help us not only in our doorways, but also in our travel paths. Here we see a really wide travel path in this kitchen, a nice wide island. There's a lot of really good space here. If I were to slip and fall, I wouldn't be worried about hitting my head on something. As we know, a lot of accidents can happen in the kitchen. We want to keep that space really clear. Something that I like that they have is that supportive rug there underneath the sink. Although we would want to make sure that rug is really securely attached to the floor. Even better would be not having that rug at all. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure, can everybody hear me?
Hey, this is Ian. I can. I think we may have one or two audio issues. We're working on that on the side. But before you continue, for those who can hear us, please enter your questions in the thought bubble, and we'll be sure to ask them throughout. So we do have a couple of audio issues happening. For the most part, I think we're okay, but there may be one or two. So if you want, if you don't have audio, please just raise your hand or send a text through the question note, and we'll try to get to you. So go ahead and continue.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that interruption. And also feel free to type in there if I'm talking a little bit too fast. I do tend to talk a little bit quickly. So I just want to point out, once again, just covering this again in case you didn't hear it, having that 36-inch minimum of a width for your clear travel path. And you want to have 42 is even better. So that looks a little bit closer, maybe to 36 in that picture for me. But if we move the island out a little bit, we'd have that perfectly clear 42-inch space. Make sure that we can use the full range of the oven that's sitting right there and not worry about backing up into the island. And another reason for that is it reduces our chance of running into furniture. I don't know about you, but I'm very prone to running into furniture. I'm just a gangly person in general. And so if I have more space, I can make sure I reduce my risk for injury. On our next slide, we're going to take a look at another example of having space. So 5 by 5, that is the amount of room that it takes a wheelchair to turn a full circle. Or anybody seated in any sort of chair, if you were to turn that on its radius, you'll see that it takes at least, at minimum, 5 feet by 5 feet. You want to have 6 feet by 6 feet just to ensure that those 12 extra inches of space can mean the difference between having an injury if you were to fall in the bathroom and not having an injury. Here in this bathroom, I could see that my wheelchair could turn all the way around if I were sitting in a wheelchair. And it also gives me that room to fall safely. I'm not going to hit my head on any sort of low shelves. I'm not going to hit my arm if I fall. But I do see what I would call a fall risk, which would be that white rug right there. That white rug on the bath mat, it's a white bath mat on the floor in front of the shower door. This space could be even improved by not having that white bath mat there. Just in case I trip or I fall, I don't want to be able to trip over that as well. And also, I just want to point out one more thing about having extra space in the bathroom, which is that if we were to need anybody in the bathroom with us to assist in bathing or toileting, we would be able to have the other person comfortably in the room with us. We have a couple more numbers to keep going for, so let's move on to our next slide, which is our reach range slide. So 18 to 48 inches, 18 being the lowest and 48 inches being the highest of our reach range when we are seated. So 18 inches is about how low minimum we would want to have anything that we are trying to reach for on a regular basis. Building code often tells you 15 inches, but truly that's a little bit too low. 18 inches hits right about where my arms, the bottom of my arms swing when I'm seated. So I'll want to have all of the high points and the low points in a very comfortable place if a wheelchair user is in the room or if I'm seated in my room. If you see in this picture, you'll notice that our friend here is using these light switches, which in a typical home would be fairly low. You might have to look at the wall for a moment to find them if you're used to a typically higher light switch. But you'll see that this is at a very comfortable range for anybody, whether you're standing or seated. That one is about 33 inches. That's about where we want to see a light switch. Also good for any sort of outlets. You'll see that that outlet on there is higher than your typical outlet would be. It's right about where his knees are hitting, which is a good place to hold outlets. You might even want to have them higher. We have some good examples of higher outlets, again, with our features coming up. But if you can't make your outlets higher, a really good example of how to adapt these things for your own home would be to plug in a extension cord. And they have tons of extension cords that you can screw into your walls and make that adapted that adapted outlet for yourself. This is not only good for people in wheelchairs, but also anybody with arthritis or knee difficulties or even stiff backs. On our next slide, we're going to look at countertop heights. There we go. So countertop heights can be varied in heights. It doesn't all have to be the same height. You'll see here in this kitchen that we have them at, I think, 3 different heights in this kitchen. The measurements that you'll want to have for these countertop heights are 28 inches to 36 inches. You'll see all of these measurements are fairly close to one another. That's because we're really trying to accommodate for people of all sizes, and seated and standing. So at a lower height, you might be able to have a chair roll underneath that countertop. You might be able to pull up a chair for a little one to help you if you're cooking together as a family. You might be able to sit if you're chopping a lot of things, if you're cooking a grand meal. You don't want to stand that entire time, just pull up a regular chair. You're able to accommodate that need. The higher countertop heights can obviously be for taller people. I myself am very tall and wish that my countertop heights were even taller. That way I don't have to hunch over to use them. They're at a comfortable height for me. Most large appliances like a dishwasher will bring your standard countertop height all the way up to about 36 inches, which is a little bit high for anybody who's seated, but that's about where those are going to reach to a standard dishwasher right now. You can see if you look in the middle of the countertop, right above the lower one, I think you'll see a couple of outlets there. Those outlets, again, you can place them where you need them. They can be accommodated to your height and your style. On our next slide, we're going to take a look at our very last magical numbers, which are 1 to 12 maximum slope. So that is 1 inch of rise for 12 inches of run. So 1 inch of rise to 12 inches of length is as steep as a ramp should be. 1 to 20 is even better. It's better than the longer that you go for that height, the safer and more gentle that ramp will be. This ramp is a great example of a ramp. We have a really great color contrast going on here. When I'm looking at this ramp, I know where my hands should go. It would be even better if those handrails were a different color than the white kind of guardrails that we have on the sides here. But they allow me to orient myself, know where I am. Even if it's really dark, I can walk very gently or roll very gently up that ramp. Also, what you'll see on this ramp are some really good examples of handrails that allow you to orient yourself when you get to the top or to the bottom of the ramp or the stairs. Those stairs, you know, when you get up to the top of them, you want to be able to hold on to something before you let go and get onto your next destination. And this is a really, really good example of that. I know I ran through that just a little bit quickly. Does anybody have any questions?
Hey, Mara, this is Allison. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? That's exciting. Okay. I can. You sounded wonderful and had such great information. So I just wanted to kind of highlight a conversation that you, myself, and Beth had the other day about ramps and how great ramps are. I think in our mindset, we think that ramps are for folks who have issue with mobility. But Beth brought up a really great point the other day, that think about how great it would be to carry up your groceries up a ramp instead of carrying them up all those stairs, especially even if like have a back issue or a knee issue. So ramps really just make life easier for everyone. And I think just changing our mindset about thinking about how these small things really could make a big impact on our lives. So that was like a really telling moment last week when we were chatting about ramps. Just starting to think about how much easier life could be if we just added these things into our daily lives.
I think that's an excellent point, Allison. And I want to point out also that these ramps, a ramp or any of the other examples of the universal design benefits and tenets that we've seen, they're examples of how we often make our own lives harder. We always want to work a little bit harder. Why would we want to walk upstairs if we're at the end of a long day or at the beginning of what's going to be a long day, and hurt our knees going up and down stairs all the time if we had the option to go up a ramp at a much gentler pace? I think that what we'll see here is that universal design and accessibility in general is there to make everybody's lives easier, regardless of whether or not you rely on these. They'll make your life easier.
And also just the look of them. I mean, this picture right in front of us that has the two handrails, which is fantastic, but then also it's very visually pleasing. You wouldn't really notice this. It doesn't really stand out. So just incorporating that would be, easy to do and still very visually pleasing. It wouldn't take away from the front of your property.
Yeah, in fact, it genuinely would add to it in a lot of situations. It can continue the aesthetics of your home that already exist, which I agree is really nice. And it is very aesthetically pleasing, this one. If we have any more questions,
we do have
please
a comment. Sure. So we have a comment or maybe a question from Diane. Diane mentioned that, Mara, you highlighted that bassinets can slide along a solid floor when you exit the shower, but you said no bassinet, but can slide along. So I think Diane is saying that, if we don't have a bassinet, we might be slipping too. So any thoughts on a safe way to exit the shower safely with your wet feet?
I think that's a really, really great question. There are actually a lot of solutions, and it's very, very personal. We always say that accessibility is an art, not a science. So there are tons of different things that we can do in the bathroom that would make our bathroom safer and more resistant to slips. So one thing we could do is create we could put a heating element in our floor, which can help the water evaporate faster. That can be installed underneath the flooring. On top of the flooring, we can make the flooring into smaller tiles that have a grippy surface. That grippy surface will inherently, even if our feet are wet, give us a little bit more traction on that floor. As well, there are plenty of products that we can apply to our floors, like sand with a little bit of paint thrown in it, or there's even something called boat deck paint, which is the paint that people with boats apply to the decks of their boats, which are literally made to be water resistant, whether or not they're wet. They'll add a lot of grip either to your feet or to your shoes. There really are a lot of solutions, and we could talk about them all day. If you are really attached to a bath rug, just making sure that we have a non-stick mat underneath that rug, making sure it's very flat to the floor, always secured whenever we have the chance to check on it. not that rugs are evil or we should do away with all rugs. We can have rugs safely. It's just always safer to have floors without them. But that's a really great comment and really great question. If you have any very specific questions about anything we're mentioning today, you can also always feel free to email Beth or myself or give us a call at the office. We're always more than happy to talk about specific features and give you recommendations if you have a specific problem. And now, speaking of
That's
Beth,
great.
please go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you so much for that great answer for those questions. We really appreciate it. And your contact information will be sent out along with a few other materials with our follow-up email that'll go out tomorrow.
Perfect. And now, speaking of Beth, I want to introduce to you all Beth Glass, who is our Vice President here at Mayho. And she is going to show us a lot of different features as well as talk about universal design principles. So Beth, please take it away.
Thank you, Mara and Allison and Ian. I am Beth Glass, and we're going to look at the 7 principles of universal design and where we can see them throughout the home. We're going to show a lot of pictures in addition to the ones Mara's already shown. These are all real people's real houses, so kind of keep that in mind as to like what's possible and how you can personalize it and make it your own. Our first principle is equitable use. And here we're talking about features that can be used equally by everyone. Let's go ahead to the next slide. And you can go forward to show the picture. Thanks. So our ramp, our 0-step entrance, is a really great example of equitable use. Everybody coming into this home can go in the same way. They can go in together. Nobody is segregated. No one has a separate entrance. You don't have to go around the back. You don't have to have family members struggling to lift up your wheelchair or hold your walker for you as you go up. Or a stroller. Don't have to walk backwards upstairs with a stroller while gently bumping the child along. I think there's another picture here as well. Here we have an example of our 0-step entrance that's inside of garage. And what's great here is that it allows all users, you can still go in together, but it also makes you safe and secure from the elements, so you're not going to get rained on. The ramp is carpeted, so you can also get any dirt off your feet or your wheelchair wheels or walker wheels as you go up this ramp. Both of these entrances here are appealing and desirable by everyone who's using them. Some more examples of equitable use. The next picture, here we have our door entry here. I want to point out the entry security that everyone can use. So we have low windows out this door. And in the next picture, we have peepholes at 2 different locations. So a lower one for someone who's shorter, maybe a child or someone who's seated, and a higher peephole above it. Everyone then has an option of seeing who's on the other side of the door. So it's a really inexpensive way to make a door more accessible. We highly recommend these for garage doors as well. The door from your home leading into your garage if you have an attached garage. You can get a peephole kit at the hardware store for about $50. They're fairly easy to install, but you could hire a handyman to do that for you. So this way everyone can equally use your entry security. There are, of course, other options available now with intercoms and video intercoms as well. And here, where in the prior picture with the windows, everybody had windows to look out. Here we have more like equivalent options where we have the lower one and the higher one. Go ahead. A roll-in shower is another example of equitable use. So even a walk-in shower would not be an accessible option, a usable option for some people with chairs or people who have balance issues and struggle to get up that step. A roll-in shower can be used by everyone. And you can see this one's really nice looking. Some other features we have here, it's a really large shower stall. It does have grab bars all the way around it. And that bathroom is pretty dark, but we do have that clear shower curtain that allows a little bit more light to get into that shower stall. That's going to be the largest kind of option you will find. This was built with a bathroom shower kit. The smallest you want to go with the shower stall is 3 feet by 3 feet. We have another picture here of a slightly older version of a roll-in shower. This is the smaller 3 feet by 3 feet. I feel like you can see the way this picture is taken that we have some sloping in the floor toward the drain, so we don't have to worry about drainage issues. And that drain is located closer to where the shower head will be. Although if you do have a handheld shower head and you're a very enthusiastic showerer, that water could still travel quite a bit. These homeowners, they have 2 doors on that shower, glass doors, which again, let in more light into that shower space, and everyone can use that shower. Our next principle is flexible use. And that means that the feature can be used in various ways. So you can choose how to use it. It works for you whether you're right-handed or left-handed. You don't have to be super precise with its use, nor do you have to be super fast or super slow to use it. The feature can adapt to your needs. So here on this particular faucet, we have a lever handle, which accommodates right and left-handed use. The single lever handle is a lot more forgiving to precision than the dual handles, where you have to adjust quite a bit to get the right temperature. And this faucet also has a tap-on feature, which we have a short video of. So you can see the faucet just taps on and taps off, which is really neat. It is unfortunately a little expensive. This particular model was about $300. That was 4 years ago that we purchased it. There are a lot more tap-on models on the market now. There are also tap-on adapters that you can get for your kitchen and bathroom faucets. This model also has a great feature where the temperature indicator changes color depending on how hot or cold the water is. So it's red when the water is hot and it's blue when the water is cold, which is also a really great adaptation when your hands are really cold in the winter and you can't quite feel temperature very well. That can help keep you safe. Okay, our next example are pull-out shelving. There's a lot of pull-out storage options in the kitchen. Lots of great ways to make the kitchen work for you better. Bring things to you instead of you having to go to them. Here we have baskets installed inside of a pantry. I really like that for the tall stuff, so you can see what's happening on that tall shelf in your pantry. And in the next photograph, we have pull-out shelves for our lower cabinets. These ones were purchased at IKEA. They also have many models available at the hardware store. A company who we use a lot is called Reva Shelf, R-E-V-A Shelf. They do sell lots of options both for your lower cabinets and your upper cabinets. And again, it brings things to you so that you're not having to crawl on your hands and knees to get out that Dutch oven. They even have one for your KitchenAid mixer where it's on a platform. The platform tucks under your cabinet and then you just lift up the platform and use the KitchenAid right there on that platform instead of having to carry it and move it around your kitchen. Our next photograph is of a pull-out trash can. These are really great ways. The pull-out trash can option is fantastic. I have a similar one in my home. It reduces space being used in the kitchen, so we don't have a trash can sitting out there, and it's really easy to take out the garbage that way. And it's kind of fun because of the rollers. It makes it a tiny bit more exciting. Even more exciting is our video of our next video, which is of a voice-activated trash can. With COVID-19, we started looking at different ways, different features. So we don't have sound here, but you can see it's opening magically on its own. Open can, close can. So with those simple commands, it opens and closes. It also has a motion sensor detector, so you can wave your hand in front of it. Those are from a company called Simple Human, and they start around $150, which is expensive for a trash can, but it does make it hands-free operation. So it's a little bit easier to clean up afterward and makes it more sanitary. And in our last example of flexible use, we have that handheld shower head where you can use it how you want to. You can move that shower head around, or you can get a hook for your shower and put it lower or higher depending on where you want that shower head to be if you want to relocate and use it as a stationary shower head. They also do have ones now that will tell you the temperature, that give you that heat gauge, the red and the blue, and some will tell you the number as well. That's a newer technology. I haven't found and tried one that's had very good reviews yet, but that is something to keep an eye on. Make sure your handheld shower head also has controls on the shower head itself so that you don't have to walk back and forth across the shower to adjust the temperature. Our next principle is simple and intuitive design. So we're looking for features that are easy to understand. Not very complex, not very difficult. Think things that a child would be able to learn and adapt to and understand. Something that meets what you expect it to and is fairly intuitive in its use. We don't think about this too often, but it's important to consider a wide range of literacy and language skills. So a child, but maybe a relative who speaks another language, or perhaps a family member who has a lower literacy level. So easy instructions and information that's consistent with importance and easy to understand. So here on this faucet, at the top of the faucet, we have our temperature indicators, the red and the blue. But you can see underneath that lever handle, we have another temperature indicator. And what's really great here is red and blue, universal for hot and cold. That's better than the H and the C, because hot and cold are obviously different words in different languages, which might not start with H and C. So the colors give everyone a clue there. And having it at two different heights allows people who are taller or people who are seated in a wheelchair or children who are shorter to be able to see those temperature indicators. In our next example, we have paddle and slide dimmer switches. So these are super easy light switches to use. What I like about these, the toggle switch might not seem very difficult, but it can be hard to grasp. Particularly like what I like though is the dimmer switches here are the sliders instead of the round dial, which is harder to get precise to the lighting that you want. The slider is a little bit easier to navigate. It's also lighted up. It has a light behind it so that you can easily see it at night. Something to consider with your switches in the home is to make sure they make sense. I'm sure we've all been into a home and seen that set of 3 light switches, and you have no idea which is for which thing. I have a light switch in my apartment that I still don't know what it turns on. I've tried every outlet. It just seems to exist for decoration. So having those make sense, preferably in like a similar left to right order throughout the room. I've also seen some homeowners use stickers or label maker tape to identify the light switches. A lot of folks who have seniors in the home who may be struggling with dementia or Alzheimer's, having that can be helpful as well. That cue for kids, it could be helpful too. Next, we have a range with front controls. And I I associate this with this particular principle because the actions of reaching over an oven to turn off the oven, or the range, excuse me, reaching over the range to turn that off, that is really complex. And having it in the front, I mean, it's really important, right, to be able to turn those things off. And having those controls in order that makes sense, from left to right, back to front, it's really important. It's really difficult to learn a new oven and sometimes to even remember with your range controls where things are located. This range has the picture next to each dial that shows which burner the dial turns on, and then it has the touchpad for the very well labeled color contrasted touchpad for the oven. We also added to this range, you might be wondering what those little black dots and orange dots are. We added tactile stickers to this. These are called bump dots. And somebody who has vision loss can feel, based on those stickers, where to set the controls for high, medium, and low. Bump dots are widely available. They're not very expensive. We got 1,000 of them for $5. And you can use them to orient your fingers to better see controls. Some people who have limited feeling in their fingertips or have arthritis have said they use them to help them press those buttons, like the ones on the range controls there.
Hey, Beth,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So this range, so great, right? Especially if, you know, people have muscle loss or anything else, getting stuff on that stove. Are these things, these types of stoves, easy to find? And how do they price compared to quote unquote normal stoves?
They are readily available, and I will say they are getting pretty trendy. I'm seeing them more and more in like HGTV homes and on different websites that do interior design. The pricing is similar, and you can get these in. This is an electric smooth top, cooktop. They do have them with the gas range. There's lots of different options available depending on how you like to cook. And there are ones that have it flat on top of the counter. I like this one at the slant. I think it's a little bit easier to see that way. There's lots of options available. They are more readily available. This particular model is actually a drop-in. So it doesn't have supports on the bottom. It's literally it's dropped into the countertop and supported by the countertop. That allows us to have it at a lower height. The drop-in models are more difficult to find, but your traditional range and stove are pretty easy. We purchased one at Sears a few years back for $500. It was a pretty cute looking model too.
Great. Yeah, super cute. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I also want to point out something like Mara talked about being kind of gangly earlier. I'm pretty clumsy, and having the controls in the front means that my hair doesn't get into boiling water, that my shirt sleeves don't touch hot burners, and I don't have to reach over those things when I'm turning them off. I can see the controls, and that's really important there. Another thing to think about too, especially if you're going to have the range controls in the back, if you have anything like my parents have the range controls in the back, and then they have a microwave installed above their oven, which means that anybody who's over 5'5" cannot see the controls on their range because the microwave is blocking that eye line. So it's really important to think about that. In either case, relocating the microwave or or having a different range controls would make it a whole lot safer for them in their home. Next, our next principle is perceptible information, so easily recognizable. Lots of different ways to get that information. So here on our ice cube maker and water dispenser, We have pictorial images that light up. It is written out so you can read it. The buttons are pretty tactile so you can feel it as well. There are models now, super fancy models, that will talk to you as well, or that you can voice control that refrigerator to tell it what you're looking for. With our gray lettering on the white background, we have a nice color contrast here, so it's easy to see. It'd be easy to tell somebody what to do, to describe to them what they should do with this. Even if somebody has vision loss and they have to count the buttons, they'd be able to do that. And you can use it if you have different sensory disabilities like vision or hearing loss. Ice cube dispensers are really great for people with disabilities, so that you're not trying to carry an ice cube tray full of water across the kitchen when you are sitting in a wheelchair, or you have a mobility aid, or if you're gangly or clumsy like Mara and me. On our next example, we have our house numbers. So here we have black house numbers on a white background. They're pretty simple font. They're not too fancy. Sometimes it's really trendy right now, I've noticed, to have the house numbers kind of jutting off of the surface. They're kind of hanging in midair. That creates some weird shadowing and makes it more difficult for someone from a distance to see the house numbers. And the whole point of having the house numbers is so people can find you. This way they can do so easily. In our next example, we have more color contrast, this time in a kitchen. So with our kitchen, I know some folks really like the idea of the kitchen being in one color. It looks really nice and clean. It's also really difficult to see what's going on if everything in it is white or black or dark. So here we have a gray and black and brown backsplash with a black countertop, ivory controls, white appliances, darkish medium brown cabinets, and then a light brown flooring. So it's all different colors, different intensities to those colors, so it's easy to see what you're doing. You do want to make sure that your utensils, especially like your knives, are a different color than your countertop surface. My sister has a stainless steel island and stainless steel like knives, like the handle is stainless steel. It's really tricky to see those knives on her counters. One thing with this kitchen that could be improved is that countertop. I'm sure you can see there's a lot of glare going on there, which can create some issues for people with vision loss, or even just generally, I find that really distracting to see what's going on in that kitchen. And we have another kitchen picture. And this one again has our color contrast. It'd be a little bit easier if our kitchen floor was slightly less glary. But we do here have the lighting coming in from lots of different light sources. So we have the overhead can lighting, we have lighting from the window, and then we have the task lighting underneath the countertops. The task lighting is fantastic, especially in the kitchen where we use knives, so that we can know what we are cutting with those knives. That's really important. If you haven't figured it out yet, I find kitchens to be a singularly terrifying place. So things like task lighting makes it a little bit safer inside that kitchen. You can get task lighting that is inline, like these are, that an electrician installs, or you can purchase a strip of plug-in task lighting at the hardware store for about $30 to $40. There's also motion sensor and tap-on LED lighting options as well. Allison, I want to point out this range here is a gas range with the front controls. They are pretty low here on this range, and it looks really sharp. Night lights.
This kitchen is a dream.
It's a lovely kitchen.
This kitchen is, it's very modern looking. You wouldn't, you know, it doesn't, I mean, it's a beautiful kitchen with so much functionality. It's great.
And I want to point out too, so this kitchen is a rehab of a home in Cleveland Heights. And people bemoan Cleveland Heights and Lakewood as having homes that are hard to make universally designed, and this house shows that you can do it. That's a really good example here. On our lighting, one other concern with being able to perceive the world around us, night lights, being able to see at night. We have one more video here to show. This is an outlet. It's from a company called Snap Power. It has integrated night lights. So it's an outlet that has the lights built in. So you can see when I turn off that light, those 3 LED lights just turn on. I apologize for the video being shaky. I was trying to turn on the light and hold the phone at the same time. So, but you can see there's no nightlight jutting out from there. This is in the kitchen. So at night, we're going to be able to find what's going on in the kitchen if we need a glass of water. They're really great in the bathroom as well. Just draws a little bit of power. It's integrated with that outlet switch, just not taking up an outlet. There's a similar kind of device actually for your toilet. It's a night light that goes underneath your toilet seat. Those are colored. They're like neon pink and neon green. So it's a little bit creepy, but it's great because when you get up in the middle of the night, it's usually to use the toilet. And then this way, you just have a light directly to the toilet where you're trying to go at night. Because it's also in that one area, it's not lighting up the entire room, so it won't be so distracting for other people in the home who might be light sensitive. So toilet night lights are a thing. They're pretty inexpensive too. Okay, tolerance for error. This is one of the trickier universal design principles to kind of understand. It's often referred to as attentive detail towards failure. And basically what it means is that it's either difficult to make a mistake, or if you make a mistake, you can easily undo it and fix it. So here we're looking for our most used elements to be easiest to find. Any kind of hazards are eliminated. If they can't be eliminated, you have a warning. An example of that might be if you have a home that has a sunken living room and we can't raise that living room back up, what are some things that we can do to warn of those hazards in that living room? Maybe we can put a grab bar next to the wall so you can safely get down there. Maybe we add a ramp. Maybe we add some bright yellow tape or a different kind of flooring fixture on the edge of that step so people can see it before they fall. Here we have a keyless door lock. So there's no way you will always be able to unlock this door regardless of what your strengths are or your cognition is here. This is a keyless door lock. So if you forget your key, you have another option to get inside your home. We do have a video here of how this particular lock operates. This one does have the key. It has the touchpad and it has a card reader. So card reader like you might see at a hotel, and then a keypad, which is really helpful then, again, if you lose your keys or if you have different family members visiting the home, you can issue each person their own code. This one also lights up, and you can see the light at the top turns green or red when it's unlocked. It also is pretty loud, so you can hear that. We have the sound turned off, so you don't have to worry.
So, Beth, how much do those cost, and are they something that you need a handy person to install, or if you are handy, you can install it?
If you are handy, you can install it. Otherwise, you might want to hire someone. They are battery operated. That particular model was $78, I believe, and we purchased it at Lowe's. There are a lot, we purchased that 5 years ago. There are a lot more options available now. They also have fingerprint technology as well. I really like these. I'm terrible with keys. I find them really difficult to use, and people who might have arthritis, wearing gloves in the winter, or have any kind of issue holding a key steady, it gives them more options. They'll be able to get in a lot faster without making so many mistakes. So they are readily available. A lot of Airbnbs and rental homes have moved towards having key locks like this, keyless locks. Our next example are stair handrails. So here we have a secondary handrail attached to these stairs. This is actually a Lakewood home. The homeowner added a handrail, and this picture's on the right side. It would be great if we had some color contrast on these handrails, but they did add one. That way you can get support and are less likely to fall regardless of which side of the stairs that you're on. That's also helpful if you have a strong side or weak side of your body. No matter which way you're going, you can get support. They also added a grab bar here at the top of the stairs to orient yourself once you get up there. Next example.
So Beth, if I could just add, I'm sorry to interrupt. These are way better in person because like we can see each other. But so we do aging in place assessments free of charge through LakewoodAlive. And the biggest thing that we see is that people do not have handrails going up their stairs. We follow people around, we watch how they use their house, and people will put their hands sometimes on both sides of the wall while they're walking upstairs to steady themselves. And I say, well, what happened to your handrail? Oh, well, we were moving furniture like 20 years ago and we just never put it back up. And I say, well, we need to get you a handrail, maybe two. And the second we get those installed for them, they call me and they're like, oh my gosh, life changed by just having something to hang on to while going up and down the stairs. So simple, easy fix, but big world of difference by putting up one or two handrails just to get you up and down safely. And that handrail at the top, the grab bar, is fantastic. For making the turn to go down the steps, and make a world of difference for people.
Absolutely. And that handrail, that would be a good thing to add too if you have any, like if you have a sunken space inside your home or just a random one step up on a flight of stairs. The handrail on the right side here is the one they added later. And it's like an exterior kind of handrail. It's like an iron one. So it's all in one piece, which made it a little bit less expensive and easier for them to install because they didn't have to install all the different brackets and then install the handrail on top of those brackets. So that's a good option to find something like that for your handrails. We have heard from some seniors when they hire a handyman for the handrail, the tendency is to try and hide it by painting it the same color as the wall like we have here. The point of the handrail is to use it and be able to see it. So make that a contrasting color. You can pick a really pretty, super cool color. It'll look great. I promise. Everybody uses a handrail. I know when I have a handrail available to me, I use it. And I'm not the only one. So brag about your handrail and make that a nice color. Next up, we have an exterior threshold here. So when we're going from outside to inside of the home, we have a pretty big threshold sometimes, a big step to go over. Here we have a really wide threshold. You want that threshold to be no more than ½ an inch high. It is beveled on both sides. Typically your exterior threshold, you're going to have that a metal one. Having that low makes it less likely that will fall. And this homeowner too, they added that drainage piece on the outside, which is fantastic because then we're going to help eliminate that hazard of puddling and drainage and water inside the home. I really like that feature there. In our next threshold picture is inside. Oh, let's go ahead to the next picture. It's a better one. We have one inside the home. Our interior thresholds to avoid tripping, to be more comfortable for our feet. We want them to more than ¼ inch high. We do recommend rubber thresholds. Rubber is less slippery. It's more comfortable on your feet than the metal ones, less likely to pop up over time. There's no screws to cut your feet on. And here we also have our rubber threshold by 2 non-slip surfaces. We have a nice vinyl composite tile on the left and a low pile carpet on the right. Do recommend for your carpet at least a darker color so it's easier to clean. This one is a low pile, it's a tight weave, and there's no backing underneath. So if we have a mobility aid, it's going to run more easily over that carpet. And that's really important, making sure that our floors are easy to navigate so we don't have to be super vigilant as we walk around our homes. Okay, next we have low physical burden. So features that can be used by all strengths with little fatigue or effort. The lever handle is your classic example here. You can maintain a neutral body position so you don't have to reach too far up or too low, using a reasonable operating force, minimizing repetitive actions and sustained physical effort. The lever handle, as opposed to the knob, just requires 1 or 2 movements in the same general area. There's no twisting, no grasping required. Here we have it on a faucet. And then our last video, we have another door handle. This one is a really cool door handle called push, pull, rotate. So you can pull the door open, push it, or use it as a traditional lever handle. This is a proprietary handle made by a company called Brinks, and it is simply called push, pull, rotate. This interior handle was $35. It does have a locking mechanism inside the door if you want that. Every time I have to carry my laundry basket through a doorway with that door handle, I wish I had a push, pull, rotate so I could just use the basket to open that door. Make it a lot easier. Likewise, when I exit the bathroom, so I'm not getting wet hands or freshly cleaned hands on that handle, would be a lot easier with that push, pull, rotate handle there. Lots of different ways to use it. Barely any effort required at all. So it does cost a little more than your traditional handle at like $35. There are lots of options available for that, for interior and exterior uses. Next, we have a parcel shelf. On this home, if you can see to the left of the door, like kind of forward in the picture, there is a shelf mounted on the siding of that home, and that's a shelf that package delivery people can put packages on. So you don't have to go down to the floor, to the ground to pick up your Amazon delivery. If you don't want to install a shelf directly to your home, you can get the same thing with a bench or a stool or table near the door, so the packages can be placed there instead of on the ground. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting a lot more deliveries these days, and that's a really helpful feature to not have to strain my knees and my back picking things up. Next, we have what I'm going to call a right height toilet. So traditional toilets are 14 to 15 inches, which are fantastic when you're a child growing up. But once you hit your adult height, most adults need what is now considered a comfort height toilet at, excuse me, I'm totally blanking, 17 to 19 inches high. A super comfort toilet, that is its technical name, super comfort, is 20 to 21 inches high. So it doesn't require so much effort on your knees to use the toilet. Maybe you don't even need to have grab bars if you have the toilet at the right height. This one, we've also added a bidet, so that's easier to use. It's a really great option as we grow older. Some folks, as they grow older, they start to need assistance toileting, and a bidet means they can continue to toilet independently. You can get bidet attachments that are relatively inexpensive, around $80 to $100, or a full bidet toilet is going to cost around $1,200. On grab bars, so so here we have grab bars next to the toilet, but in our next photograph, we're going to show grab bars in the shower. This shows the backing prepared for a grab bar. So you want either to use the studs in the wall or 3/4 inch plywood to support those grab bars. And our next photograph shows what they look like at the end of this project, where they install their grab bars. A few things about grab bars: install them where you need them based on your height and your habits. If you tend to go to the left or to the right, if you're tall or if you're short, put them where you need them. You don't have to put them where you always see grab bars, at the bathroom at the movie theater. If you don't need a grab bar behind the toilet, you don't have to put one there. If you do use grab bars though, and grab bars are great, everyone in the home can use them, not just the person they're designed for. We all slip sometimes or need some extra support. Only grab bars are grab bars, so you do not use your towel rack as a grab bar. It will not support your weight. Do not use your traditional toilet paper holder as a grab bar or your wall-mounted sink. Sometimes even countertops could create an issue with using that for support. So install grab bars where you need them and install them with the proper backing. Suction cup grab bars do not support over time. They're bad. Please don't use them.
I was just going to say that. Yes, please don't use them.
Don't use them. If they're plastic, find a place that you can recycle them. Do not give them to a friend. Please don't use them. The only thing they're good for would be if you want to test out different locations to place your permanent grab bars. But once you've done that, stop using it and put in a permanent grab bar. If you do have concerns about backing behind that wall, Moen does make a product called a secure mount anchor that they say supports 350 to 400 pounds through the drywall. So that's from Moen, and it is called secure mount anchor. There are tons of grab bar options available. If you are a renter and you don't want to deal with your landlord, there are some self-supporting options. There's safety rails that attach to a toilet. There's also a grab bar that mounts to the side of a bathtub, and that supports itself very well. And that's a really great grab bar if you have a small bathroom that you could use for both the shower and the toilet. My sister uses a model like that. It works really well for her. Okay, our last principle is having sufficient size and space to approach a feature in your home and to use that feature. So having the clear line of sight. So for example, in my parents' home that I mentioned before, their microwave above, that's not universally designed. Being able to reach everything we need to reach without too much strain. So keeping within that reach range that Mara described earlier. I think this one's interesting, the accommodating variations in hand and grip size. So when you do have your grab bars or your handrail, think about what your grip is like, how large your hands are. Some grab bars are really like skinny and it'd be hard to get a good grip on if you have larger hands. Some folks, instead of using a handrail, they just use that top stair rail. That's like a square piece of wood, and that can be really hard to grip if you have smaller hands. So consider that with your handrails. And having enough space if you do have a mobility aid, if you have family members helping you, as Mara described earlier. Here with this range, we have clear countertop space on both sides so that we can put our hot pots and pans right there. We don't have to carry them to a second location. It's really easy to slide them straight to another surface. Next, we have a covered entry. Here, coming up to this home, we have lots of space under that covered entry to maneuver, to get around, to knock on the door, or to get out our keys and unlock that door. And on the next picture, we see what's on the other side of those doors. So it's important to also have space inside the home where we get to the door. maybe space to put on our shoes safely. I love that bench there. My grandmother was recently complaining about having to put her shoes on her couch and then walk across her carpet to get out the door. When I suggested she put a chair next to her door, I could hear her over the phone roll her eyes at me, and she just said she wasn't going to do that. So don't be like my grandmother and put a chair near your door so that you don't have to make your carpet dirty or risk tripping over that space. Having lots of room here to move around. What I like here too is we have enough room to open that door without bumping into a piece of furniture or another person, because there's plenty of space for all the people inside that home. And finally, another door concern with space. In our last photograph, we have a bathroom where you can see this bathroom door opens out. That is a critical safety feature. If your hallway, if what's on the other side of your bathroom allows it, consider changing your door so that the bathroom door opens out. This gives you two benefits. One, you have more space inside your bathroom, which is fantastic if you have a smaller bathroom. And two, if you fall inside the bathroom and your door opens in, somebody coming to rescue you might hit you with a door, or your body might block the door from opening all the way, which means that your rescuers will have to take the time to tear down that door. But if we have the door open out, there's no way that my falling body could block that door. One accommodation we should add to this particular door is a handle, an additional D-shaped handle on the inside of the door, a few inches or a foot away from the door frame, from the hinges, so that we can easily pull that door closed without having to go all the way back into the hallway. Most door frames will be amenable to switching the hinges. That's what I would call a do-it-together project with a buddy, although you probably would not have to hire a handyman for that. Okay, more questions? Thoughts? Ideas?
So Beth, can we talk a little bit about refrigerators?
Sure.
So I have a refrigerator that has the freezer on the top and the refrigerator on the bottom. And I am a 6 foot tall person, and I curse my refrigerator almost on a daily basis because I have to literally like lay on the ground to see what's on the top shelf of the refrigerator. So I'm thinking that, I don't know what your insight is, either a side-by-side or a freezer on the bottom or a fridge on the top. Like I can't wait till I can get a new fridge that is freezer on the bottom, fridge on the top. Like I'm counting. I don't want to get rid of it. It still works, and I'm probably going to break tomorrow because I'm talking smack about it today. But
sure.
Talk to me about refrigerators.
So refrigerators are very much a user-based kind of appliance. I know, like we visited a lot of homes of people with different disabilities, and it really varies by personal preference. I visited a lot of homes, and in our apartments that we furnish, we do a side-by-side. Everyone can use some portion of both. Typically though, especially on the freezer side, you kind of lose space in them. One thing that I do like is looking for doors where you can adjust where the shelves go. That's helpful. But we also know a lot of people who really love the freezer drawer. If bending and reaching is an issue for you, a freezer drawer might not be your best option. And I also have visited a home with somebody who swears by the refrigerators that have that the middle drawer, so a large deep freezer drawer and kind of a middle drawer underneath the refrigerator space. In her family, it's the cheese drawer. And I really like that idea of a cheese drawer built into that. That's at a good height, like for kids to get to, I think is what they use it for in their home. But I do think that the important thing to consider is that everyone in your, without too much strain and having a built-in water and ice cube dispenser is really important. The other thing to consider with your appliances, the other thing to think about is the exterior material. The stainless steel looks really great. It can be really difficult to clean. So keeping that in mind. And our refrigerator and our model unit, and all of those videos are from features in our demonstration unit in University Circle. Our refrigerator there, we added soft fabric covers on the refrigerator handles. So it's easier to clean because you can just pop that in the washer if somebody's, if you're concerned about sanitation or if you just have a enthusiastic chef in the house. It also makes it easier to grip because you have a nice soft material to hold onto on that refrigerator handle.
So Beth, we have 2 comments, and maybe we can dig a little deeper into them. So from Dave, hi Dave, we really like the dual functionality of bathroom shelf grab bars. Notice there were 2 in the bathroom you showed. I noticed those too. They look fantastic. We're always looking for more space in our showers, right? So why not have dual purpose? Are those easy to find?
They are. We have one of those on display in our demonstration unit, and the one that we have was purchased at Lowe's. These are both corner models, and I know Moen makes a corner model as well that they sell at hardware stores. They also make them that are not, actually I think that bottom one's not a corner model. So they have them in different shapes and different lengths. There's a lot of different dual purpose grab bars now. So they have the storage ones. There's also toilet paper holders that function as grab bars and give you that support while also being a toilet paper holder, so you don't have to rely on that countertop for support. And they look really neat, so I don't think anybody would think it's weird that you have a grab bar for your toilet paper holder. But those are available as well.
Yeah.
We purchased 2 different ones online for the toilet paper holder grab bars. One was 30 and one was 40, I think.
We have really been working with a lot of our clients through our aging in place assessments. We hear a lot of times, I don't need any grab bars. I'm not getting old. And then we watch people, utilize their bathrooms, and we say, well, you might really benefit from a grab bar. And so when you tell them it can be disguised as a toilet paper holder, that is a game changer. They are in. So I really like that we are making some strides here with these great, whether it's a shower shelf or a toilet paper holder, whatever it takes, so we can get these features into people's bathrooms. I know that I need to install a toilet paper holder grab bar in my bathroom, and I've been starting to look into the different styles, so I'm very excited about that.
There are some great ones.
So
and
I do have
just real quick on the grab bars, in the materials we send tomorrow, we'll include a product list of some of the stuff we talked about today, the things that we've tried out, and I'll also include some of the grab bar things that we discussed as well.
Yeah, and the stander bar, I don't know if you are fans of the stander bar at all, but life-changing. They are kind of like a shower, I'm sorry, it's a long day. They are spring-loaded. They're not permanent if you don't want them to be. They're kind of like a stripper pole. You lock them into place, but really handy between the toilet and the shower. We are big fans of the stander bar as well.
Those are also really great next to the head of the bed. If you have any difficulties getting up from the bed, that is also a really great option there. There are some different safety rails that you can get next to the bed if you need support there. But they're a little bit less, they provide a little bit less support because they typically rely on arms going underneath your mattress. They do have ones that have legs that you can adjust, but it's difficult to get quite the right height with your your box spring and your mattress. So that's where we call it a vertical grab bar is really helpful.
And then we do have a really great comment from Victoria. And Victoria, I agree with you. She said that she's an occupational therapy student and just wanted to say thank you for this educational session. I like some of the ideas you showed us for accessibility in the home. And asked if you have a demonstration unit at Maho.
We do. It's at our main office in University Circle. We're currently working out the best way to do tours there with COVID-19. We are going to be having videos available, probably like midsummer, of more of the features. And then we are spending some of this downtime adding more features to it. Spoiler alert, we're going to be adding a drawer microwave and a voice-activated faucet that I'm very excited about. More technology to that space as well. So we do offer tours. We're not quite sure how to offer them safely right now, but we will have some videos available within the next month probably of those tours, so you can tour safely from your home. And we're going to try and make it as interactive as possible. So we'll send our follow-up information tomorrow, and that'll include our contact info. So if you want, you can be added to our mailing list, or we can just make a note to let you know once we have that available. We do also, for Victoria, we do offer CE units for occupational physical therapists as well, and we'll be doing some of those webinars later this summer.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. So I have to say, I Googled toilet nightlights. Not going to lie. I'm looking at it right now. I'm excited for all the colors that are available.
Right?
$7.99. They are a bargain, and this could be a game changer about middle of the night restroom breaks. So thank you. I mean, I learned a ton of things. I just hate to say that my very favorite thing was the LED toilet bowl lights.
No, that's a big deal. I'm someone, light makes me sneeze, so I can't turn on lights in the middle of the night. And like any kind of nightlight thing like that is a big deal in my house.
So I encourage everyone to visit Maho's website. There's a ton of information. Beth and Mara are total class acts, know all of their stuff. So thank you guys so much for being such a great friend to Lakewood Alive. You can definitely reach out to them. We will be sending their contact information tomorrow, along with some really great resources to help you through your journey of making some universal design improvements in your home. A quick plug for Lakewood Alive, since you couldn't hear my spiel at the beginning. We do aging in place assessments for residents of Lakewood. They are free of cost. So give me a call. We can get something set up, help you understand how you can utilize your home differently or ways to keep you safe in your home. If you ever have any questions about finding contractors or maybe some of the improvements that you're trying to tackle, we'd be happy to help you with that process. So I know Beth and Mara are the same. They'd love to hear from you, and they'd be happy to share information as well. Beth or Mara, do you have any closing thoughts on this presentation?
Thank you all so much for joining us. And as Allison said, feel free to contact us anytime. We'd love to share more ideas and products. We exist, our jobs are to research this stuff and find cool new things. So please use us and let us help you out.
Yes, thank you so much.
Fantastic. Yes, thank you both so much for your time with us today. And thank you to all who have attended. Our next workshop is going to be cabinet refinishing on July 16th. We are looking to partner with Sherwin-Williams. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do that. We did have a workshop in June, but we had to cancel that one. So Ask an Expert is being postponed, not canceled. Our next time we'll be together will be in July for cabinet refinishing. So we're excited to see everyone then. So thank you all again for spending your evening with us. And if you like what you're seeing, check out LakewoodAlive.org. You can find more information about knowing your home there. All of our previous workshops have been recorded and are there for you to see. And then if you do like what you see, maybe consider making a donation to Lakewood Alive. We are nearing the end of our annual campaign, and any dollar amount would be a big impact to us. So thank you so much for checking us out. And Barbara, you just asked about our home assessments. If you give us a call, 216-521-0655, we can tell you more about our home safety assessment, or check out the Contact Us page. You can find my email address there. That's Urbanek, AURBANEK, at LakewoodAlive.org. And we'll send all this information out tomorrow in an email as well. So Beth, Mara, thank you so much. Thanks to my right-hand guy, Ian, for making this PowerPoint work. We really appreciate everyone for making this a team effort, and I hope you guys stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.